Cashless Society here again today, and I wanted to kind of summarize the crypto space as a whole for those that are kind of really new getting here and trying just to understand, grasp everything that's going on right now. So I got a PowerPoint here, kind of more traditional style than just skimming over a bunch of articles that everybody else put together and just talking about them. So I made this PowerPoint presentation, and yeah, let's just dive right into it. So, as it says here, this is basically crypto in a nutshell in my mind. There's a lot more that could go into this, but I wanted to briefly summarize it. So try to make it easy to understand as well. All right. So basically, right now, there is three main crypto communities that are all bickering over superiority. Everyone just mine's better than yours, this and that. It is really tribalist. There's a lot of maximalists on either side. So let's just take a look at that a little more in depth. All right. So, like I said here, all three have logical reasons to believe that they have a great future, but also all three have major pros and cons. So let's take a look at Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin, let's weigh the pros and cons. So this is I've tried to be as unbiased as possible when making the pros and cons for each project. So I'm gonna hit the bullet points, briefly summarize them, and move on to the next one. Very obvious with Bitcoin that it has the first mover advantage. There is indeed scarcity programmed into the code. For those of you that don't know, Bitcoin is capped at 21 million, and we're not expected to have fully mined all of the Bitcoin until I think 2140, something like that. So it gets more and more difficult to create new Bitcoin as we go along. So what that does is create scarcity basically built into the code. It is indeed the most secure network by hash rate. That's pretty much summarizes that. So out of all the blockchains in existence right now, Bitcoin has the highest hash rate, which arguably would make it the most secure. It does have the most history, so it's been around since 2009, I believe. Yeah, 2009, October timeframe, and with the most successful uptime. So it has proven itself over 10 years now to be able to consistently keep up the network. Obviously, it has great name recognition when it comes to crypto. Most people, if you tell them who don't know about the space, you say that you're into cryptocurrency or you're into crypto, they'll say, "Oh, what's that?" Oh, blockchain. Oh, well, what's that? And then if you say Bitcoin, oh, okay, Bitcoin. Isn't that like the internet money? So yeah, but anyway, obviously name recognition is there. I put that as a pro. There's no real competition for its actual use case. Up to this point, the use case is really only going to be store of value. Store of value and network security is what I'll argue. So as long as you utilize that security, that hash rate in existence, you can continue to build on top of it, side chains and so on. I always say Elastos is a great example of this because they piggyback off of Bitcoin. They merge mine with Bitcoin, and they're building out a new internet infrastructure on top of it that uses Bitcoin as the security layer for the new internet. Okay, I won't go any further there. Just one use case that I see for having that powerful hash rate. All right, the cons. So these are all facts. I know a lot of people would argue with them, but this is the way it is. So right now, over 80% of all the mining pools, the concentration is controlled by China. Just the other day, Chris Larson, a member of Ripple, came out and was talking about how China could reverse Bitcoin transactions on the network if they wanted to, which they could. So that's a red flag. All right. There's also this mystery man named Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the creator of Bitcoin, who controls at least 1 million Bitcoin for all we know. You could go way deep down into that. I personally don't believe that this guy doesn't. I think everyone argues that he doesn't have control of them anymore. I doubt that. I also don't know if Satoshi Nakamoto is even an individual, maybe more so an entity or a group of people. Personal opinion. That's also another direction you could take it. But anyway, there's a big, large amount of Bitcoin controlled by a mystery man. So that, who knows what's going to happen with that? But let's continue on. Right, so one could definitely argue that there is really no real scaling solutions in sight. As I mentioned, it is slow, extremely slow right now, 7 transactions per second, tops. It is proof of work, just like Ethereum in its current form. They are trying to come out with scaling solutions to make it go faster, essentially, but that's been supposedly in the works for years, and I just don't see them making any major changes to the core Bitcoin code. I think they're going to leave it as it is. Slow as it might be, now the argument, as I said, is going to be store value. So they're basically trying to make Bitcoin digital gold, and that's the argument. So as far as utility, other than store value, as I mentioned, the only utility other than that, in my opinion, is network security. So that is a big deal. The strength of the network is very hard to break, essentially, but not if 80% of it is controlled by China. So if the mining pool's power was more decentralized, then that would actually be factual that it has a great security. But right now, it is controlled by one group of people, essentially. Another con is going to be that right now it does consume close to 1% of all the energy, the global electricity, as high as some countries. So right now, with this whole situation around the globe, we're going to see an argument, a push towards being more green. Everything's going to be digital. We're distancing from each other, right? All this stuff. But that's going to cause the argument to be valid, right? Then we need to move to more green, more efficiency, and this and that. And right now, Bitcoin does not fit that narrative at all. So, all right, who is behind, or who are these Bitcoin maximalists that I talk about, and what are some of their arguments they form that, in my personal opinion, I don't agree with? So, just a couple examples. Anthony Pompliano, he's a huge cheerleader for Bitcoin as a whole, and you'll see him make statements that bother me all the time, and one of them is what I got here on the left for you. So he said, scarcity is probably the most important rule in economics. Many things are scarce: raw materials, precious metals, etc. Only one asset is provably scarce, though. It also happens to be fully decentralized and not controlled by any person or group. Bitcoin is ultimate scarcity. Wow. Okay, so no, that's not true, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. But if only one asset is provably scarce, I'm sorry, both XRP and Stellar are capped. They're capped at this point. So there will only be ever 100 billion XRP. And people say, oh, that's so many. But really, though, if this is supposed to be a global money used all around the world, is 100 billion a lot? Not at all. So that's extremely scarce when considered to be in the hands of everyone in the global population. And to my understanding, Stellar is capped at now 50 billion. So it could be arguably even more scarce than XRP. So that's not true. He also says it happens to be fully decentralized and not controlled by any person or group. That's also wrong, which I'm going to show you in my next slide. All right. You also have the Winklevi twins. So Tyler here argues that one day Warren Buffett, the GOAT of investing, will realize that Bitcoin is the only long-term hedge to stock market mania and inflation. Even legends get it wrong sometimes. I mean, come on, dude. You're calling out Warren Buffett because he invested in gold, and that you're saying that Bitcoin is the only long-term hedge to stock market mania. Okay, man. We'll see, right? But I think Warren Buffett probably might know one or two things that you don't, that's going on behind the scenes. I mean, the guy has literally made deals with the government to bail out certain companies historically. So, but anyway, silly arguments in my opinion. But all right, so let's revisit Pompliano saying that it's fully decentralized and not controlled by any person or group. So as I mentioned, 80% of the hash rate is controlled by pools that are Chinese mining pools. So this goes all the way up to here, like this Bit Fury area. I think the rest of this is all China. And in order to reverse or take control of the network, anything like that, you only need to have 51%. So China provably has enough control to reverse Bitcoin transactions if they wanted to. That's a fact. Next slide. So as far as competition, I'm going to try and put competitors for each major group. So for Bitcoin in its current form, and probably forever, I would argue, hey, maybe it doesn't have any competitors. It probably will never have that. For one, it has no competition with name brand recognition. It has no competition with being as slow as it is. It is indeed the slowest and will always remain. But that's just me, being biased. It does have, I said none, right? I could have said a lot. I could have said XRP or Ethereum, this and that. I said none because what Bitcoin is arguing to do, it has no competition in. And that's basically being the digital gold or store value or slow moving thing with extremely high hash rate, network security, and all that. In those terms, it doesn't have any competition. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got there. So next slide. Ethereum maximalists, I guess, is the term you would use for them. Let's take a look at their pros and cons. So on the pro side, a lot of good things to say about Ethereum. For one, that it has extremely high developer activity. Ethereum is the most used blockchain right now, and that it's not even close. As I mentioned, most dApps not even close. A great utility. Helped a lot of people make a lot of money with ICOs, and now you got the DeFi craze, all that good stuff going on. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which I'm going to dive into a little deeper, but I indicate in parentheses there funding, meaning that there's a lot of money invested into Ethereum. There's a lot of time and basically, money being put into Ethereum. So that's a big deal, right? It's always good to have the people with the money in your corner. All right. Next up, user-friendly coding language, ? I say that because I'm not a developer, so I don't quite understand that extent, but I have heard plenty of the developers and stuff indicate, that it is kind of easy to use Ethereum. So I'll put it in there as a pro. Try to put pros for as much pros as I could. All right. Also, Ethereum 2.0 is potentially happening, right? This has been dragging on for years now, like 4 or 5 years. It's been made mention that they're going to switch to proof of stake, which is going to allow them to scale, get faster, allow for more transactions on the network, and so on. So this is a pro because it could be coming shortly. As of right now, though, that's not happening. And it keeps getting delayed, So this is one of those where I'll believe it when I see it kind of things. So moving over to the con side, right now it is slow at 15 transactions per second. So this is not going to cut it to be of any use on a global scale later on in life. They have to switch to proof of stake. Right now they are proof of work. And as I mentioned, Ethereum 2.0 has to happen or ETH will fail. That's a personal opinion. I just don't see the core blockchain surviving at 15 transactions per second. It could, maybe it could, I don't know. You could argue against it with Bitcoin as well. It's slow, but it'll survive because it's going to be digital gold. We'll see what happens with Ethereum. It's already operating at like 80-90% capacity at all times, which shows that, no one's using it. Let's be honest, on a global scale, nobody's actually using Ethereum. Some people might be using it, developers might be using it, but no one's really using it. Not on a global scale. So I don't think 15 transactions per second will cut it. Right? As of now, as well, it's also inflationary by design. It's not capped, which is very similar to fiat currency. That takes away the investment value long term, I would say, or just the idea of it. Supposedly, when they switch to 2.0, they're going to decrease the inflation. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, the supply has no end in sight, so it can continue to grow over time. All right. So Ethereum is basically free for all for anyone to jump on, use the network, build whatever junk you want. I put CryptoKitties in parentheses for those of you that don't know. In 2017, CryptoKitties was an app that really bogged down the Ethereum network, caused the fees to go up and everything like that, just because it was complex, but it was really only a dApp built on the platform that allowed people to basically trade digital cartoon kittens, I guess you would say. And they were all scarce, they were all unique, and all this good stuff that blockchain allows. But one little app, one little game, completely stopped the network basically from functioning properly. All right. So also, you could definitely argue that the Ethereum mining as well is centralized in China. And then lastly, another issue with Ethereum is it does have some very real competition, which I will talk about here in a second as well. So right now, I did talk in the pros how there was this thing called the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So let's take a look at what that is. It's basically this group of major companies all around the world. I think there's like 200 plus something companies in there that are basically all working together on Ethereum. As you can see in here, big names like Accenture, CME Group, who just said that we could see a gold-backed cryptocurrency in the future coming soon. Consensus, who just bought JP Morgan's Quorum, which is a private blockchain project that they're working on, I believe, and JP Morgan is going to fund the project as well, to my understanding. Could be wrong. But yeah, so I know Consensus just acquired Quorum. They're going to be working on it. So anyway, then you got Intel in there, Microsoft, JP Morgan already mentioned, BNY Mellon, BP. So plenty of big names in there. Yep. Oh, common theme though you'll see with Ethereum as well as XRP. They have a lot of the same people in their corner. Banco Santander is an XRP Ripple client. Accenture is a Ripple partner as well. What else do we got here? I think BNY Mellon has some ties to Ripple behind the scenes. Yeah. All right, that pretty much covers it. Next up. All right, so Ethereum competitors. So I just put a couple snapshots in here. Neo, these are all guys that were supposedly going to be Ethereum killers. Historically, 2017, Neo was that for sure Ethereum killer, right? Everyone was hyping Neo, and definitely during that period of time, Neo had a lot of projects, everything being built on top of it. They still do. They're just not on Ethereum level. Neo is also fairly centralized. It is fast. It's not proof of work. That's the thing about all of these Ethereum competitors, and none of them are proof of work. So they all have faster transactions per second on their blockchain, but they just don't have the development activity as Ethereum does. But yeah, so Ethereum's issue is it's in proof of work. If it proves that it can't scale, and some of these other platforms continue to grow, like Cardano, for instance, to my understanding, they're trying to make it so Ethereum developers can port over their projects, their tokens they've already built on Ethereum and run them on Cardano. The same can be said with XRP with the Flare project that they have. I'm not sure about Tezos or EOS. Neo, I don't think you can, just because they have Neo allows you to use basically every coding language except for what Ethereum does. But there have been a couple projects that have already swapped from Ethereum to Neo as well, which I won't dive into. But anyway, you got a bunch of hungry people that are building good platforms that are ready for Ethereum to fail, essentially. So if it does, there's lots of guys ready to clean that up. So, all right, next up, you got your XRP, the standard guys. All right, so let's talk about these folks and what do they believe in. So XRP, there's a lot of pros to talk about. There really is. I tried to be as fair as I could with all of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am biased towards XRP. It didn't used to be. I used to be as Bitcoin maximalist as it gets until I actually learned a little about the space, and that quickly made me change that tune. So anyway, let's take a look. So they are, unlike maybe all these projects, really, XRP and Ripple have identified real world issues that they are trying to solve. Okay, so right now, money does not move around the world like an email, and that's what they keep saying they're trying to make happen. Bitcoin can't do that. Ethereum can't do that in its current situation. It can move it a lot faster than it already moves, even Bitcoin. But still, in the end, businesses and people with money, they're gonna want the fastest, cheapest one, right? Not the slow, expensive one. It's just they're not gonna care about your whatever your arguments are. They're gonna say which one's fastest and cheapest. How do I get it there as fast as I can for the least amount of money? That's all they're gonna care about. That's like guaranteed. So, but anyway, they have a real issue that they're solving. Just to briefly summarize Nostro Vostro, banks all around the world, in order to do business together, they have to keep inventories of other business countries' currency, essentially. So, if you're doing business in Japan, they got to have dollars in their bank, just sitting dormant, ready to execute, basically, whatever business that you do. But anyway, so there's inventories of currency all stashed away all around the world, and it's just dormant capital that could be used for something else if it didn't have to sit there. So if you come to this bank or this business, whatever, and you tell them, hey, look, I know a way to get that money out of there so you can use it for other things as your working capital, they're going to want to hear what you have to say. All right, now an XRP in its current form does have confirmed 1,500 transactions per second with 3-second settlement time, and proven scalability up to 50,000 transactions per second, which is up there with Visa. All right. One can argue against this, whatever they want, but Ripple has proven ties to federal governments all around the world. They've been seen in the room with all of these leaders, which I'm going to show you right after this. But anyway, they got ties to the Fed, the European Union, Japan, Brazil, India, China, you name it. They've been seen working with regulators. It's been proven now as well that Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, visited with the Trump administration in 2018. He was there. Ripple has an office in Washington, D.C. That's also not by accident. They've met with some leader with Brazilian Central Bank, I believe, as well, like just a couple months ago. They have RippleNet enabled in every bank in India, and the list goes on and on. I'm not going to hammer that home too much. All right, so it is deflationary. So unlike Bitcoin, XRP is actually going to reduce supply over time. So not only is it capped and scarce, it's also deflationary. So the supply is going to slowly dwindle over time, making less and less in circulation. But supposedly they've said that it's going to take a long time for that to be reduced. Don't quote me because I don't know how long it's going to be, but that is a fact in there. All right, so they also are a 10% owner in MoneyGram. So unlike all these other projects, they've just been buying companies that they want to infiltrate and be part of. And with MoneyGram, that puts them inside of Walmart, and it also puts them in connection with 180 countries around the world. All right, and as I've mentioned, they do have smart contracts coming with the Flare project that is supposedly going to be able to connect with Ethereum. So it's basically going to be able to pair Ethereum smart contracts with the XRP ledger as well, to my understanding. All right, lastly, on the pro side, they have plenty of funding. Last time they were valued was, I believe, December of last year, with over 10 billion in valuation. I think as the XRP token continues to grow in value over time, you could see Ripple end up being one of the largest IPOs in history. I think they're at 10 billion right now, which already puts them, I think, in the top 10 for IPOs if they were to do it now. But that's going to continue to grow because it hasn't happened yet, right? So, all right, look at the cons. So I try to argue with what I see people argue with. So one of the main things people don't like about XRP is the tokens were created, they weren't mining, nobody worked for them or anything like that. They were just programmed into existence, essentially. Also, people call it the banker's coin. I think that's a very old argument. I mean, because the bankers are where all the money's at, so why wouldn't you work with them? You're not going to beat them. They'll just buy you. If they don't like you, they'll just buy you. Or if they want to get rid of you, they'll just buy you. Anyway, I don't like that argument, but I put it in there. It's con. It's the banker's coin. Not for the people or whatever. That's what people will say. They say that it's also centralized amongst pre-qualified node operators. So to be an operator on the network, you have to be basically chosen by the Ripple community or team or whatever to be allowed to run a node, to my understanding. I could be wrong on that, but if I'm wrong, then that's a good thing. But anyway, the nodes are decentralized. They're just decentralized amongst global leaders, and I guess the idea with crypto is to get the power away from global leaders, but you probably will struggle with that idea because, like I said, you'll just buy whatever it is that you have that you're using for your power. Anyway, also argued that the founders own too much XRP. I think right now there's like 53 billion XRP tucked away in escrow. I think something like that. But they don't own them. They've already tucked them away, and they're distributed at 1 billion per month. Sometimes they are sold on the market. Also, sometimes they're put right back into escrow. Ripple, the company, has already admitted recently as well that they are buying Ripple off the market. So some of these cons can kind of be balanced out. Anyway, also you got Jed McCaleb. So Jed McCaleb was the basically co-founder of Ripple, the project way back in 2012 and 2013. He was with the team. He left. He later moved on to create Stellar. But during this period of time, he had a dispute where he wanted to get his tokens from Ripple, the XRP tokens, and he did. So he has, I think, just reading it, but he supposedly sells a lot of XRP every month. So everyone will argue that the price will never move up so long as Jed McCaleb is dumping on the community. I think he sold 54 million XRP in April was the last little article I read, and I believe in April XRP had a very productive month and climbing in price. So I don't even know if he's selling. He's probably not selling on exchanges. He has so much that he has to sell over the counter. So he's getting the money, yeah, for sure, but he's probably selling it to institutions. I wouldn't be surprised. All right. I would need to see some proof that he's selling on the market in order to actually be worried about that. But when you look at the chart, I see no signs of somebody dumping. The chart's actually been one of the more stable ones on the bottom that it's formed in any crypto. So, but anyway, that's what people argue. All right, next up. So, like this picture, like I said, is basically Ripple in a nutshell for why I would be bullish, or anyone should be bullish. I don't think you need to think too hard about this one. You can't really argue against this either. You have Brad Garlinghouse here on the right, and he's in the room talking, with the director of monetary markets at the IMF, the chief executive of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the chairman of Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, and up front is Christine Lagarde, who is the president or head of the European Central Bank. I forget the term used, but anyway, so she used to work at the IMF, who is also going around right now making videos about how cryptocurrency could help this new pandemic situation and stuff. So, I mean, you could keep going there, but yeah, Christine Lagarde used to be at the IMF. Now she's at the European Central Bank. And please, someone explain to me or argue a valid point of why to be negative about this image? Why is Brad Garlinghouse in this room? What are they talking about? Are they talking about how worried they are that Jed McCaleb might be dumping XRP tokens? I don't know. I mean, what? Why is he there? Right. All right. Next up, XRP competitors. So people would argue that Stellar might be in competition with XRP. Some could also argue that Stellar is partnered with Ripple and XRP behind the scenes, collaborating still. Who knows, really, to be honest. But Stellar, over here on the left, that's her logo, was created by Jed McCaleb, who used to work at Ripple and was a co-founder there as well. Some people will argue that Hyperledger and R3 are going to be used, so there's no need for XRP. Hyperledger is created by the Linux Foundation, I believe, which is kind of like an open source blockchain development protocol that I think IBM is using. And then also you got R3, which is supposedly working behind the scenes with everybody in the world concerning blockchain, everyone that matters. But they have also shown demonstrations of using the XRP ledger on their Corda settler. So, and also R3 has a bunch of XRP, so it's only in their interest that it were to succeed, I would argue. So once again, all of these competitors for XRP could very well be partners behind the scenes. So we'll find out later on, but that's about it for the top three. Brief summary, as I said, I could go a lot more in depth, but I just wanted to kind of try and paint a simple picture for everybody of what this actually looks like. All right, so honorable mention behind the scenes, a top project that to me is just, it's way too hypey. There's so many people that are just Chainlink. The community is just full of memes, and it started on, what's that platform? I forget the name, but Chainlink has just been like the community is just religious, literally. Like if you try to argue with them about Chainlink, they're just gonna set you on fire. They probably would if you were in person. I don't know, but anyway, Chainlink is supposedly tied in with a lot of these crypto projects using their decentralized Oracle system that they're developing. There's a lot of big names that have come out publicly and said that they are using Chainlink. One of them being Elastos, which I already talked about in this video. Tezos, you got Oracle in there. Google's tweeted about Chainlink as well. So they're basically tied in with every major crypto project that in existence. So hard to argue against that. I'm just saying that the community is a little too psycho for me. But hey, maybe that's just because they love the project so much and they know it will succeed. But anyway, just wanted to throw them in there because I could see Chainlink. They've already moved up into the top 5 as far as market cap. I could see Chainlink continuing its run. I mean, having a kind of 2017 Ethereum type run the end of this year and into next year. So that's why I wanted to put it in there. All right. Lastly, right now you got this crazy thing called the Great Distraction, and it's DeFi and crypto. So right now, everybody's hyping up this DeFi. What's the next project I'm gonna make my great yield returns on? And it's total joke in my opinion. But people can do what they want. I'm not playing around with DeFi. Basically what you got to do here is you lend out your tokens, or you lock them up on platforms, and then you earn interest, as simply put as you can. So you take your Ethereum, you lock it away, you get interest. That's sketch to me, because you have to take your real tokens with value and lend them out on an unproven platform with the hopes of getting them back. But anyway, this guy Leshner tweeted about the DeFi craze as well. He said if Spaghetti Money, which was a new platform that came out just like a month ago, I believe, has 500 million locked up in less than 36 hours after launch. The industry needs to self-regulate and stop launching these meme farming games. So you got spaghetti money, you got your yams. It's all food-based now because it's farming is the term. Oh man, I got Yam over here on the right. I took a screenshot for you as well, just showing you the chart. It ran up over $150 right after launch, and then it dumped to like $12 within seconds, and then now it's at like 2 cents. So imagine being the guy that bought some Yam at 150 and now it's 2 cents. That's all your money's gone. So you want to play this game, go ahead. I'll show you what it reminds me of in this next slide. So DeFi is the new BitConnect, in my opinion. Very BitConnect-esque. So briefly summarizing, if you don't know what BitConnect is or you weren't around for it, BitConnect was an open source cryptocurrency that was connected with the high yield investment program. Does that sound familiar? What are we experiencing right now with DeFi? High yield returns, right? Everyone's chasing that yield farming because they're making so much money, right? Well, kind of sounds like a Ponzi scheme, right? All right, so it says after the platform administrators closed the earning platform on January 16, 2018 and distributed users funds in BitConnect token, confidence was lost and the value of the coin plummeted to below $1 from a previous high of nearly 500. The coin value collapse is one of the largest in the history of cryptocurrency. That is correct. So there was a period of time where BitConnect just completely shut down their website and you couldn't access it, and that was that. It was the great heist of crypto in 2017 and 18. And they did it by encouraging people to lock their real crypto up on their platform so they could get high yield investment returns. Does that sound like DeFi? Sounds a lot like DeFi right now, doesn't it? All right, let's continue to examine this. So, the big hot one right now is Yearn. Yearn Finance. So right now, Yearn is about $15,000 per token. All right. Let's read a little about Yearn. So Yearn did 35,000% in 7 days. The unbelievable story of Yearn Finance. Guess what the founder said? The founder said they released the tokens to the community because they wanted to give up this control, mostly because they were lazy and didn't want to do it. They released the Yearn, a completely valueless zero supply token. We reiterate, it has zero financial value. There is no pre-mine, there is no sale, no, you cannot buy it, no, it won't be on Uniswap, no, there won't be an auction. We don't have any of it. So, Yearn, a token that's trading worth more than Bitcoin right now, $15,000 a piece, has the founders telling you that it's valueless. All right, and then it says, is DeFi maturing or in a bubble phase? Since being listed on Uniswap, Yearn Finance's price rallied by more than 4,000% in a single day. And that was back when it was only $3,000. So, you tell me, is DeFi maturing or is it in a bubble when a valueless token rallied by more than 4,000% in a single day? All right. I just wanted to address this DeFi stuff really quick because I see top YouTubers out there with over 130, 140,000 subscribers talking about this DeFi and how it's all cool and like new thing, this and that. And I've also seen said person or persons simultaneously talk about how they have higher morals than the rest of the YouTubers, and you know that they don't like advocating for scams, and you know, they've even said that XRP is a scam because it's a banker's coin and this and that, but yet they want to talk about this freaking yield farming garbage on their channel, and they've been around since 2017, so they know what BitConnect is, but they still talk about all this crap and encourage people to participate. So I'm always going to give my 2 Satoshis when it comes to that, because if you get to a point where you have that many followers and simultaneously you're calling out other YouTubers because of moral standards and this and that, and then you're still talking about this DeFi garbage, you know, you're going to cause a lot of people to lose money. So what's going to happen? All right. That actually wraps it up. So I hope that was interesting for you. Hope it was very informative, and be coming at you again with another one hopefully tomorrow. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one.
What is a cashless society? What does it actually mean in a literal or high-level sense?
Money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these.
Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Then, good morning.
Mobile payment transactions in China reached a cumulative total of 277.4 trillion RMB in 2018, ranking #1 in the world, according to the recently released statistical report on internet development in China. As of June 2019, online payment users in the country reached 633 million. The cashless society is now approaching.
When's the last time you paid with cash? Well, chances are cash has taken a backseat to the plastic in your wallet and smartphone pay apps.
Denver 7's Ryan Luby explains the digital pay revolution and why not everyone is on board.
The cashless society, the cashless society.
The cashless society.
The cashless society is now approaching.
The cashless society.